Wow, what a great video that reflects Cathay Group's achievement across 4 lines of businesses in 2025 and a solid momentum that we are carrying into our 80th anniversary. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Cathay Group 2025 Annual Results Media Briefing. My name is Andy Wong, General Manager Corporate Affairs for Cathay. Whether you are attending today in person or online, it is a pleasure to see you all and thank you for joining us. Please note that Cantonese, Putonghua, and English simultaneous interpretation is available at today's press briefing. Please feel free to ask questions in any of these 3 languages in the Q&A session. Introducing our speakers for today. Our chair, Mr. Patrick Healy. Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Ronald Lam. Chief Customer and Commercial Officer, Ms. Lavinia Lau. Chief Operations and Service Delivery Officer, Mr. Alex McGowan. And Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Rebecca Sharp. So without further ado, let me invite our chair, Mr. Healy, to share his opening remarks. Mr. Chair, please.
Thanks very much, Andy, and good afternoon to all of you, and thanks so much for joining us here today. So I'm pleased to share that 2025 marked our 3rd consecutive year of solid financial performance, and this is an excellent achievement that reflects the dedication of our people to delivering world-class service to our customers, and it gives us a solid foundation for future growth. The Cathay Group, including our airlines, subsidiaries and associates, reported an attributable profit of $10.8 billion in 2025, and this compares with an attributable profit of $9.9 billion in 2024. The past 3 years of solid profits have enabled us to strengthen our balance sheet and complete multiple buybacks, reflecting our confidence in our long-term prospects. This includes the preference shares, warrants, convertible bonds, and just last month, Qatar Airways shareholding in Cathay. Our strong balance sheet also facilitates our commitment of well over $100 billion of investments, which will elevate the customer experience and strengthen the Hong Kong International Aviation Hub. We have more than 100 new narrow-body, regional wide-body, long-haul wide-body, and large freighter aircraft on order, in addition to new cabin and lounge products and digital innovations. Our full-year result has allowed us to announce a second interim dividend payment to ordinary shareholders of 64 cents per ordinary share, and together with the first interim dividend already paid, a total of 84 cents per ordinary share, or $5.2 billion, will have been paid in ordinary share dividends in respect of 2025. Sharing our success with our people is also integral to our culture at Cathay, and we are pleased to offer them a total of more than 11 weeks of eligible pay in the form of discretionary bonus and profit sharing, in addition to a salary increase for 2026. Having completed the rebuild of our network and of our teams early in the year, in 2025 we launched flights to 20 destinations as a group. Our passenger network now stands at more than 100 destinations worldwide, a significant milestone as we continue to grow. We have also been recognized in multiple prestigious industry awards and rankings, and these recognitions are a credit to our team at Cathay and a further proof of our determination to continuously raise the bar for our customers and for the Hong Kong International Aviation Hub. Looking ahead, the prevailing geopolitical environment is volatile. We are seeing sudden and unexpected shifts in passenger and cargo flows, as well as jet fuel prices. Ongoing supply chain disruption and cost inflation continue to impact delivery of new aircraft, cabin products, and parts. However, we have built a strong foundation which has made Cathay more resilient, efficient, and adaptable than ever before. And this has put us in the best possible position to withstand the current market turbulence. and we will remain agile as we continue to face external challenges. We got off to an encouraging start in the first 2 months of 2026. We expect to grow passenger capacity by around 10% this year as we add frequencies and destinations to our network, which will also contribute to increased cargo capacity. We remain highly confident in our future at the very center of the Hong Kong International Aviation Hub. In addition to deploying more Boeing 777-300ER aircraft retrofitted with our award-winning Aria suite, at the end of this year, we will be introducing the Aria Studio, an all-new flatbed business class product on our regional Airbus A330-300s. We also look forward to welcoming customers back to the Wing First, our newly redesigned flagship lounge in Hong Kong, soon to be followed by our first ever lounge in New York. For Cathay Cargo, we shall continue to adjust to changing market dynamics through close dialogue with our customers, leveraging our strong network to deploy capacity to meet demand while continuing to develop our core capabilities. This is a special year for Cathay as we celebrate 80 years together with our team, our customers, and the community. Just this week, we unveiled our third special anniversary aircraft livery, the Spirit of Hong Kong, in partnership with the West Kowloon Cultural District. Our celebrations throughout this year reflect our pride at growing side by side with our home hub and connecting Hong Kong and the Chinese mainland with the world. I would like to take this opportunity to extend our sincere appreciation to our people, our customers, and our shareholders for being central to our story over the past 80 years as we strive to become our customers' most loved service brand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before we take your question, please note that our CEO, Ronald, will recap some of the key points in Cantonese in his closing remarks towards the end of the press briefing. Now, on to your question. If you would like to ask a question, kindly raise your hand. I'll call on you, and one of our colleagues will bring a microphone. Please state your name and the media organization that you work for. Kindly limit your question to a maximum of 2 so that we can respond to as many media friends as we can. So, here, on to the first question. RTHK, 唔該，阿永。
香港電台嘅鄧詠琳啦，咁就第一就係想關心翻中東局勢之下啦，國泰集團咧有幾多嘅航班同埋客人係受到影響啦？預計個收入咧會即係會減少咗幾多啦？同埋整體對於香港航空業嘅影響有幾大？國泰會點樣面對同埋應對咧？需唔需要加票價咧？第二就係都係關油價波動啦，燃油對沖咧使唔使加大個對沖嘅比例啦？對於營運成本同埋今年嘅業績咧，會有幾大嘅影響？需唔需要發盈警咧？唔該。
首先講下我哋中東嘅航班嘅安排啦。咁國泰航空咧，其實係飛去中東嘅2個點，一個咧就係杜拜，另一個咧就係利雅得。咁我哋每日咧分別都有1班航班。咁因為因應中東嘅局勢咧，我哋暫時咧呢2班航班咧，我哋都暫停到今個月嘅月底，去到3月31號。咁我哋到時咧，我哋會再檢視情況，睇下咧可唔可以恢復翻呢啲航班。咁另外中東局勢咧雖然我哋嘅航班唔係好多啦，咁但係中東局勢帶嚟嘅影響咧，最主要係喺油價方面。尤其是喺飛機航油方面咧，係比起3月咧至今嗰個油價咧，係比起1、2月嘅平均咧，差唔多係升咗2倍嚇。咁所以咧，我哋都會檢視緊我哋嘅各方面嘅措施啦。咁首先喺燃油對沖咧，其實今年我哋燃油對沖咧已經係達到30%。咁我哋都會繼續咧按住我哋既有嘅機制去做燃油嘅對沖，唔會因為局勢嘅改變咧，我哋有所改變。咁另一個措施咧就係燃油附加費啦。 咁由於頭先我都講過，飛機嘅航油咧其實升咗2倍嚇，咁所以咧嚟緊咧我哋都好快會公布燃油附加費嘅調整，務求咧令到我哋嘅航班咧係可以繼續有效咁嘅營運。多謝。
唔該 Ronald。Second question. Oh, Bloomberg, Danny.
Thank you. Danny Lee from Bloomberg News. What is the likelihood Cathay will have to raise airfares, and if so, by how much, given the doubling of jet fuel costs? Or can you just be explicit that you'll be relying on raising fuel surcharges to just cover the cost in this situation? And in light of the war in the Gulf, are you seeing any changes in booking pattern behavior in terms of going from long haul to short haul and a preference for flights to Asia overall? Thank you.
Thanks, Danny. I'll ask Lavinia to take those questions, both in terms of the fuel surcharge and also changes in booking patterns. I mean, maybe I could just preface that with a couple of comments in general. One is that, of course, like everyone, we're hoping for a peaceful resolution in the Middle East as soon as possible, and that all of our own decisions that we're taking about operations there are being made with the safety and security of our passengers and our crew at the absolute forefront of our minds. Beyond that, we're attempting to minimize disruption and ensure operational integrity as long as it's safe to consider those, to continue those schedules. But Lavinia, do you want to take Danny's questions on pricing, fuel surcharge, and the change in booking patterns?
Thanks, Danny, for the question. Well, fares is a function of market demand and supply. So based on, given the current Middle East situation, because of some shortage in seat supply to and from that region and by the carriers provided in that region, we do see a surge in demand because as travelers try to find for alternative routings to go to their destinations. So for example, on our Hong Kong European routes, we do see a sudden surge in demand, which is quite unusual. And that will obviously introduce some volatility in prices. In our cases, for example, on our routes, our flights are already pretty full already on the European routes, especially in the economy cabin. So the sudden upsurge in demand will inevitably push up prices. Fuel surcharge is a mechanism which we use to hedge against some of the volatility in fuel prices as we see. As mentioned by Ronald just now, if we look at the jet fuel prices in the so far in March, we are seeing the jet fuel almost doubled compared to the average in Jan to February. So as the fuel surcharge is based on Singjet or jet fuel as a reference point, so we can expect that fuel surcharge will also go up because of the current unusual situation.
Okay, thank you. Next question, TVB.
你好 ，TVB 嘅提問，首先想問下咧，就知道而家油價都有2倍嘅一個升幅啦。咁但係燃油附加費嗰度咧，會因應啲咩情況考慮有調升啦？同埋即係嗰個調升嘅情況會唔會都會考慮轉嫁到消費者身上面？唔該。
好多謝呢個問題。頭先再重複一次啦，就係我哋至今咧中東嘅局勢咧，令到油價喺3月咧比起1至2月咧，平均係都升咗2倍嚇，咁所以我哋都會好快有公佈因應咁嘅情況咧，我哋都會提升燃油附加費嚇，咁好快會有公佈嚇，多謝。
唔該。下一個問題，我哋不如揾一揾我哋內地嘅記者朋友，21世紀 Jack。
各位好，来自南方财经21世纪经济报道林夕。我有2个问题，第一个就是刚刚林总也讲到这个燃油附加费的这个问题，想问一下这个附加费的这个涨幅的这种比例大概能是到多少的这个程度？另外，这个中东局势啊，目前对于这个，当然对于这个香港飞中东的这个航班是有影响的。那对于中东国泰欧洲的这个航班有没有一定的这个影响？ 还有一个问题就是，我们看到其实今天发财报了之后，国泰的股价是大涨的。那这3年来，国泰的这些努力啊，包括取得的成绩，大家都是有目共睹的。我想问一下，这3年来连续增长的这个动力，主要是源自于哪里？谢谢。
好，谢谢你的问题。3月份中东的局势开始以后呢，我们的原油航空的航油的那个成本呢，已经是升了2倍，所以呢，我们在很快就会公布我们在原油附加费上边呢，也是会有一个相应的提升以确保我们的航班可以继续的运行。那在运力方面，我们中东的航班其实不是很多，只是每天一班到利雅得，还有每天一班到这个迪拜那现在呢已经暂停到3月底，那到时候我们会再看在安全的情况之下，我们会继续航班。那我们欧洲的航班其实现在是正常的运行。那刚才已经提到，就是很多以前是经中东去欧洲的亚洲的乘客，现在呢都看到我们香港转机这个机会那我们看到我们在香港到欧洲的航班短期呢那个需求是有所提升的。那在3月，因为我们停飞了2班中东的航班，我们也会把这些运力投到其他的航线上尤其在欧洲。那我们未来这几个星期我们会加一些欧洲的航班。那刚才提到就是过去3年我们非常的鼓舞，就是我们的财务成果都是非常的稳定，而且是在一个高水平的状况。那希望就是我们未来这几年也可以持续这个趋势。那主要是我们团队非常的努力无论是在收益的效率也好，在成本的效率也好我们一直在提升我们的效率。另外呢，就是我们在顾客体验方面这几年也是有很大的提升令到我们的品牌在市场上更受欢迎，有更多的顾客愿意选我们国泰集团的服务跟产品这个是非常的关键。所以未来这几年我们的方向也是继续不断的提升顾客的体验，务求成为我们顾客最喜爱的服务品牌。好，谢谢。
好，谢谢 Ronald。Next question, Reuters, Julie.
Thank you, Julie from Reuters. I have two questions. First question for Rebecca, because on the analyst call just now, in the afternoon, you mentioned that Cathay has hedged about 30% of your fuel needs for this year, but you also noted that was based on the crude exposure rather than jet fuel prices. I just wondered, given that the crack spread actually widened quite a lot in recent days and tend to be more volatile in this environment and probably more directly tied to your cost. Could you elaborate, on the rationale for your hedging strategy only on the crude exposure? And I wondered whether you assess or considered whether adding, the crack spread hedge or a more comprehensive hedging approach to mitigate the volatility. And secondly, I wondered if the management could share a bit more details on how the Middle East conflict has affected Cathay's passenger and cargo operations so far, and if this kind of crisis continues, what kind of duration or escalation would make Cathay revisit network planning or reassess your 10% passenger growth targets announced this morning? Thank you.
Shall I start? Is this working? Yeah. Thank you for your question. As you say, fuel prices can be highly volatile, and we don't have a crystal ball as to what the future will bring. Therefore, we do manage our fuel through hedging. But as you also allude to, as I mentioned at the analyst briefing, our hedging is done on crude oil. And at the end of 2025, we had about 30% of our fuel consumption, our estimated fuel consumption for 2026 hedged. In terms of why we don't hedge on, or we don't have any hedges currently in place on jet fuel, the market for hedging is much more sort of prevalent in crude oil. For jet fuel, that's obviously a far smaller percentage of the total fuel market globally, and therefore to hedge jet fuel, the market is very thin, and therefore it makes it very expensive to do so. So we don't currently do that. And our hedging policy hasn't changed over the past number of years. We do it with the objective of minimizing volatility in the short term, and we don't have any plans to change from what we're doing at the moment. Thank you.
Thanks, Gillian. Yeah, on the second question, again, Lavinia, maybe you're best placed to comment on the current impact in terms of network pricing, etc. Again, just to reiterate, I think we're all hoping for a fast resolution to the current crisis, and safety of crew and passengers remains paramount. But Lavinia, do you want to comment on the question?
Sure. Thank you. So starting with passenger first, as I just also explained in another question, we do see temporary upsurge in demand, especially on routes which rely more on Middle East hubs previously. So for us, Hong Kong, Europe, I think that's the obvious one. So we do see an upsurge in demand, but we actually also see some upsurge in demand in other parts of our networks as well. For example, Indian to North America, that is also a routing which relies heavily on Middle Eastern hubs previously. So we do also see travelers trying to find alternatives for these itineraries. So we do see a general increase in demand especially on our long-haul network. On the cargo side, we do see initially some increase in cargo demand, particularly again on the European route, Hong Kong, Europe, or Southeast Asia to Europe. However, in our case, we do some of our Europe freighters had a stopover in Dubai before going to Europe for adding fuel and picking up additional cargo. So for those particular freighter flights, because of the current situation, because we are avoiding Dubai, they actually need to fly non-stop to Europe. And that means that we need to take more fuel and suffer a payload hit on those flights. So whilst there might be some increase in demand, we also face a little bit of supply constraint in actually handling those extra demand.
Thank you. 下一个问题，澎湃新闻。
林总您好，我想请问一下，去年国泰整体的这个高端客运，包括商务舱、常旅客这方面的一个恢复进度如何？包括未来有何展望？第二个问题是，面对现在国内的一些航司，他们一直在持续加码国际线，那我们国泰如何守住高端客源和中转枢纽的这个优势？谢谢。
好，谢谢。在过去几年，尤其去年，我们的前舱就是高端的旅客，是有很好的增长。在我们的商务舱、公务舱的入座率是蛮高的。而且疫情之后呢，我们发现呢，除了差旅的前舱的乘客，我们也看到更多的休闲的乘客是选乘我们的公务舱，还有特选经济舱，是比疫情前那个比例是有所上升。所以我们对未来前舱高端的出行的乘客的那个增长是蛮有信心的。那另外呢，就是在跟内地的航司的竞争。香港是一个在中国非常重要，也是一个领先的国际的航空枢纽。那目前来讲，我们香港尤其国泰的长途国际航班还是在整个中国是领先。那我们会继续发展我们跟国际的联通。 但是呢，同一时间呢，我们也会加强我们香港跟内地航点的联通。那现在我们有全球超过100个航点，那其中有20多个是连接内地，有80多个是连接国际的。那继续呢，未来我们会继续在这两方面同步的发展，令香港更加加强成为一个真的是背靠祖国、联通世界的一个航空枢纽。那另外呢，就是很重要一点，就是我们顾客的体验，也是我们很重要的一个优势。我们希望就是未来继续投入更多的资源去提升顾客体验，无论是在机上的产品、机上的娱乐啊、餐饮啊，到地上我们贵宾室都会不断的提升。那去年我们非常高兴，就是在很多的航空的排名榜，我们都是在全世界前列的位置。那这个也是一个原因很多顾客，内地的顾客都会选我们的服务经香港到世界各地。那这个优势我们会继续的扩大。谢谢。
好，谢谢林总。Allow us to turn to our online questions. So we have questions from Air Transport World. So it's on HK Express. So the question goes: HK Express loss has widened, but contribution factors appears to remain the same as the last update. So what has worsened over 2025, and what is being done in 2026? Thank you.
Okay, let me take that question. Yes, HK Express make a substantial loss, close to 1 billion Hong Kong dollar in 2025, due to a number of short-term factors. The most prominent factor adversely affected HK Express was the change in our travelers' preference in terms of destination. In particular, Japan was affected for a few months, middle of last year, because of the earthquake rumor. It has a rather big impact to the demand to our Japan route. And traditionally, HK Express was relying quite heavily on traffic to Japan, and therefore they were pretty severely affected. The other factor that affected them in 2025 was that there were a number of new routes. They launched 12 new destinations in 2025, and some of these new destinations will take time to mature, and therefore may not be profitable immediately. So I think those are the main factors. But we are very confident about the long-term future of HK Express. If we look at our fundamentals like aircraft utilization, cost efficiency, on-time performance, all have been trending towards the positive directions. We've also taken a number of measures to diversify our network by expanding more into Southeast Asia, Chinese mainland, and also our point of sales diversifying away just from Hong Kong. We're now enjoying quite a good proportion of revenue outside of Hong Kong, including the mainland cities in the GBA, as well as Southeast Asia. With all these efforts, we are seeing early signs of success already. In fact, HK Express started the year very well in 2026. The first 2 months in terms of HK Express performance has improved a lot in the first 2 months of the year. So I think we remain confident about the long-term future of HK Express, and we can see a path to profitability in due course. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronald. Thank you, Ronald. So we have one more question on this time on suppliers. So it's a two-part question. So one is, how confident is Cathay about being able to source and maintain the supplies of jet fuel? And then also, are you able to give us some update on when the first 777-9 is expected to arrive? Thank you.
Alex, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, on the fuel question first, we're obviously in very close contact with airports around our network, and in particular here in our home hub of Hong Kong. At present, there's no undue concern over the supply of aviation fuel given the stores that are in situ and actively en route. But we will obviously keep a very close watch on the situation. On the topic of the Boeing 777-9, we are also in close coordination with Boeing. We have regular teleconferences and meetings with them. And we're encouraged by the progress they've made on the certification front. Obviously, until it's completed, there's still some uncertainty in the final delivery dates of those aircraft. But we are fully expecting to receive our first aircraft in 2027 and looking forward to receiving it very much.
Thank you, Alex. Coming back to the briefing room, next question. Now TV.
你好 ，from Now TV 啦，都想問下咧，中東局勢都令到歐洲好多航班搖搖到啦。啱啱都提過咧，可能票價方面都會有啲壓力或者影響。想請問可唔可以用廣東話解答多次咧？唔該。
多謝你嘅問題。咁其實香港歐洲航線啦，我頭先都有講過啦。其實我哋本身嘅歐洲航線就冇特別改到，頭先主要係話我哋嘅貨機反而就係唔可以中途停杜拜啦，咁就要直飛歐洲啦。但我本身如果係客機方面，香港歐洲嘅航線咧，我哋係冇需要改到咁嘅。咁喺票價方面啦，咁其實票價都係供求需應供求去決定嘅。咁我哋喺短期度咧，我哋係真係見到因為中東嘅局勢嘅問題啦，同埋中東本身好多往返嘅航班都受到影響啦，所以有好多旅客咧都喺呢個時期咧都係要揾一啲另外嘅方法係去到佢哋嘅目的地。咁喺香港歐洲嘅航線上邊，我哋見到係過去一個禮拜咧係多咗好多突然嘅一啲需求啦。咁但係因為我哋本身我哋自己嘅歐洲航班喺3、4月份嘅時候，其實本身嘅定座率都已經係頗高㗎啦。咁所以當有呢啲額外嘅需求嘅時候，好自然個票價就會向上升咯。咁但係頭先Ronald 都有提過啦，其實我哋都已經係盡量睇下有咩方法可以再提供多啲嘅座位俾乘客去選擇。咁其實我哋琴日都已經公布咗啦，我哋喺3月份我哋係會多加咗幾班倫敦嘅航班啦，同埋喺蘇黎世嘅航線上邊咧，亦都係加大我哋嘅客機，即係擺一隻大啲嘅飛機落去，咁提供多啲座位，提供多啲嘅供應，咁可以俾旅客多啲嘅選擇。多謝。
下一條infocast。
Hello, Hello. This is Jane for Infocast, and I also have a question on Hong Kong Express. As you have just said, the Hong Kong Express is greatly exposure to Japan. So when will the Japan's flight will recover? And so could you please make a prediction of when will the Hong Kong Express make a turnover? And so the second question is about the bonus. So as you have said in the press releases that you will distribute 11 weeks of the bonus. So could you please elaborate on your policy? Thank you. 可以用廣東話答我。
OK， 唔該你。
香港快運呢，我哋舊年係差唔多係10億嘅虧損啦。咁但係咧係因為一啲短期嘅因素，尤其咧就係受到日本地震謠言嘅影響啦。咁呢個謠言已經過去咗啦，大家都知道嚇。咁所以我哋嘅日本嘅航班又好，日本嘅需求又好咧，其實都係回復咗正常㗎啦。咁剛才我都亦都提到啦，就係經過我哋各樣嘅措施之後咧，其實今年頭2個月香港快運嘅表現咧，其實已經係有好大嘅好轉嚇。咁我哋希望咧呢個趨勢會繼續。咁至於咧我都唔可以講到幾時咧香港快運可以賺返錢。咁我哋希望咧盡快呢個好視乎市場嘅情況啦。咁但係喺我哋控制嘅範圍裏邊咧，其實剛才都提到，其實香港快運好多嘅基本因素咧，其實係不斷進步。例如咧佢哋嘅成本效益啦、飛機嘅使用率啦、各方面咧，其實係一直都有改善嚇。咁所以等到一個啱嘅時機咧，我哋係非常有信心香港快運係會達到盈利嘅。 咁另外一個問題咧就關於我哋國泰集團分發俾員工嘅一啲盈利嘅分享啦嚇。咁我哋好高興公佈咧，就係我哋向我哋成個集團嘅員工咧分發7個禮拜嘅盈利分享嚇。咁加上咧，我哋之前已經公佈咗1個月嘅酌情嘅花紅咧，加埋咧我哋係超過11個星期嘅特別嘅獎金咧，係俾我哋成個集團嘅員工嚇。咁呢個咧亦都係我哋呢幾年啦一路持守嘅，就係希望咧我哋公司財務表現做得好嘅時候咧，我哋都將我哋嘅成果咧分享俾我哋嘅員工。咁當然唔止我哋嘅員工啦，我哋亦都透過派發dividend 俾我哋嘅股東啦嚇。咁今日我哋都公布咗我哋會有額外60個美60仙嘅嚇嘅分紅俾我哋嘅股東。咁全年咧係84仙嘅分紅俾我哋嘅股東嚇。咁亦都係一個相當大嘅數目嚇。所以以後咧，我哋希望我哋公司咧繼續可以保持一個穩定同埋一個成功嘅財務成果。我哋可以繼續咧將呢啲成果咧分享俾我哋嘅同事啦，同埋我哋嘅股東。多謝。
唔該。下一條問題星島。
你好啊，管理層想問一問翻，就係見到上年嘅業績剩下收益率都有個正常化嘅現象嘅，可唔可以講其實今年嗰個剩下收益率嘅嗰個趨勢係點樣咧？咁因為見到而家即係可能頭先都提到會增加呢個燃油附加費之後，其實即係如果用票價嚟講啦，票價其實係唔係都會居高不下，會減唔到落去咧？今年咁第二條問題咧，想問翻啦，因為即係2026至到2030年就會有一個5年嘅計劃啦，即係都有提到嘅話，可唔可以講下即係除咗目標係要成為一個即係顧客最中意嘅航空公司之外啦，財務目標方面其實你哋係諗住係有啲咩嘅目標咧？今年有咩特別嘅指標係可能想達到咁咧？同埋唔好意思，我最後想釐清翻少少，因為頭先 Ronald 話嗰個燃油航空燃油個價格3月係比1、2月平均多咗2倍，但係頭先 Navina 係講咗 double， 我想搞清楚係即係個價格係多咗2倍定多咗1倍啊？唔該。
係比較起1至2月咧，係而家係2倍嚇，就唔係係咯，我諗係 double 咗翻倍嚇。咁或者再講多少少啦。其實1至2月咧，航空燃油嗰個價格咧，大約係80幾蚊美金一桶嚇。咁而家咧升到超過160蚊嚇，咁嘅狀況嚇。咁所以係翻倍嚇。咁我陣間俾阿 Lavina 答一答關於收益率同埋票價嘅問題啦。咁我首先解答下未來5年啦嚇。咁未來5年咧，2026到2030咧係我哋下一個5年計劃嘅一個重要嘅階段啦。咁喺過去3年咧，其實我哋嘅表現都係非常之穩健啦。咁我哋希望未來5年喺各方面咧，我哋一方面守住我哋已經做得好好嘅方面啦，另一方面咧喺某啲方面咧，我哋繼續希望可以繼續提升同埋進步。咁喺未來啦，我哋嘅財務方面咧，我哋希望都可以係保持一個好嘅表現嚇。咁其中一個我哋嘅指標咧，我哋叫做Return on Capital Employed。咁過去3年咧，其實我哋喺呢個指標上面咧，都係連續3年超過10%嘅。咁呢個係一個好穩定同埋一個好穩健嘅表現啦。咁我哋希望未來5年咧，我哋都可以繼續可以維持呢個指標，可以繼續做得好。多謝。
Thank you, Ronald. I think we have time for 2 more questions. I'm sorry. Lavinia, please.
咁其實都再講一次啦，其實票價完全係取決於市場嘅供求啦。咁我諗喺demand 嘅方面，其實我哋見到呢1-2年全球嘅即係出遊嘅需求都係好穩定啦，亦都好穩健啦。咁所以呢個係整體嚟講，呢個市場嘅氣氛係好嘅咯。咁至於喺供應方面，咁其實我哋本身啦，我只可以講我哋自己啦。咁國泰集團其實由舊年開始，我哋已經全面恢復到疫情前嘅供應啦嘅嚇。咁所以其實我哋都一路加咗好多航班啦。舊年亦都加咗20個新嘅航點啦。咁所以喺我哋方面已經一路提供更多嘅選擇俾乘客咯。咁所以最後個票價就係取決於即係呢個供求之間嘅平衡咯。咁但係當然而家嘅局勢又變到啦。咁所以喺 跟住落嚟究竟即係個票價嘅走勢，我諗亦都係睇翻 again 即係全球呢個供求嘅變化咯。
好，唔該晒。Daisy 中新社。
你好，中国新闻社提问有2个问题。首先是今年计划客运运力增加约10%，但是目前受这个中东局势和这个新飞机交付受阻的一些因素的影响，那么想了解一下这一运力增长目标能不能如期的完成？那么新增的运力将优先投射到哪些区域来对冲这个中东航线的影响？第2个问题是这个提到这个客运运力的提升，可以带动这个货运运力增长。那么目前全球的货运市场的需求是大概怎么样一个情况？就是公司的货运业务今年的核心增长点是在哪里？怎么去运用这个客运运力的提升来实现货运运力的一个效益最大化？谢谢。
首先就是这是全年的这个供求的问题，是不是啊？我觉得今年的客运的整体的需求本来不是，如果不是因为这个中东的情况以下，其实整体来说是很稳健的，所以我们也估计今年的这个运力的增加是符合这个市场的需要。那我们去年其实是从夏天开始是增加了很多的长途的航班，所以今年这些去年下半年增加的航班将会继续到今年的上半年，所以我们全年的有一些的增长就是主要是这些航班全年化的这个延续。当然我们也会在个别的航线，尤其是一些短途的航线，今年的夏天我们也会再加这个航班。那现在来说当然看不到这个会不会有一些额外的这个中东的影响，但是如果没有的话，我们这个计划还是会正常去推动的，就是这个大约是10%的这个运力的增长。那另外就是问到货运方面，今年主要是货运的可以这些载货量的提升，主要是因为就是客运航班的增加，所以都是用他们的这个肚子去载额外的货物，所以随着这个客运网络的航班的增长，所以我们就是今年的这个货运的是也会增加的这个运量，也是在从此已得到的。
好，谢谢。最后的一个问题就是韩宇圈。
好，谢谢。国泰去年其实在内地开通了很多新的航点，包括乌鲁木齐啊、长沙啊，上海快运也开了很多新航点。想问一下，这些新的航点是否达到了预期？那在今年是否有进一步拓展内地航线的这个业务的计划？谢谢。
好，谢谢你的问题。是去年国泰航空在内地增加了2个航点，就是长沙跟乌鲁木齐。然后很高兴的报告，2个航点都很受到顾客的欢迎，尤其是香港的旅客。但是当然我们希望是把这2条航线培养得更加好，我们也希望把他们介绍给更多的海外的顾客，让他们可以体验这2个城市的独特的魅力。那内地是在我们的网络中一个很重要的组成，所以在未来我们一定会继续再增加在国内的这个航点跟航班。现在我们2家航空公司加起来，国泰跟快运是飞24个内地的航点，那未来一定会继续增加，尤其是快运，他们今年会有5架新的飞机引进来，所以在未来1-2年，我们可以想象或者是预期我们的内地的网络将会继续扩大。谢谢。
好，谢谢 Lavinia。I would like to now invite Ronald, our CEO, to recap some of the key points in Cantonese before we end the briefing today. So may I invite Ronald, please.
各位午安，感謝大家出席今日嘅傳媒發佈會。國泰集團喺2025年連續3年取得穩健嘅財務表現，同時咧榮獲業界多個權威獎項同埋全球領先嘅排名。我哋嘅努力同進步係有目共睹嘅。2025年集團咧破紀錄增加咗20個航點， 全球網絡覆蓋超過100個目的地，接載咗超過3600萬顧客同埋170萬公噸嘅貨物，按年呢係分別增長27%同埋9%。2025年我哋錄得應佔溢利港幣108億元，超越咗2024年嘅港幣99億元嘅水平。主要呢係受益於客運運力增加、乘客運載率穩定同埋貨運需求具韌性。但係咧，同時咧，因為乘客收益率正常化以及香港快運錄得虧損咧，而有所影響嘅。我哋穩健嘅業績咧，令到我哋可以回饋我哋各方嘅股東同埋員工。首先呢，我哋完成咗一系列嘅回購，代表咗咧我哋對長遠業務嘅信心。另外咧，我哋今年亦都宣布咧向普通股嘅股東咧派發總共每股84仙嘅股息，全年咧總共派發股息咧係超過52億港幣嘅。另外咧，我哋亦都向合資格嘅同事咧發放超過11個星期嘅薪金，係以酌情花紅同埋利潤分享兩種形式發放。財務表現穩健咧，亦都令到集團咧可以繼續投資香港。我哋係將會投資遠超於1000億港元，用嚟咧升級我哋嘅機隊、客艙同埋貴賓室，同埋咧強化我哋數碼方面嘅領導地位，既提升顧客嘅體驗，同一時間咧我哋亦都會鞏固香港國際機場嘅樞紐地位。2026年，我哋預計運力咧會增長大約係10%。我哋會專注於增加航班同埋航點，包括咧西雅圖新嘅航線喺今個月尾咧就會推出啦。另外咧，我哋亦都會喺今年咧推出全新嘅區域商務艙嘅產品，2日商務艙 Aria Studio 將會喺咧年底喺我哋嘅 A330、300嘅客機推出。另外咧，我哋環宇堂頭等嘅貴賓室咧，亦都即將會揭幕，而稍後咧，亦都喺紐約嘅金乃迪機場貴賓室咧，亦都會開幕。雖然咧今年首2個月嘅開局咧係非常之良好，但係目前咧集團仍然面對咧唔少短期嘅挑戰。目前咧地緣政治環境非常之動盪，對於客貨流以至咧我哋嘅燃油價格咧都造成一啲唔可預期嘅影響。另外咧，供應鏈嘅唔穩定啦，同埋成本上漲咧，都繼續持續影響新飛機嘅付運同埋客艙產品同埋零件嘅供應。不過咧，過去3年我哋已經建立起非常穩固嘅基礎，令到國泰集團咧更加強韌、更加有效、更加有適應力，令到我哋有能力面對呢啲市場複雜嘅變化。我哋會繼續強化我哋核心嘅優勢，並且善用集團環球嘅網絡，保持靈活，把握唔同區域嘅商機，去應對呢啲挑戰。今年呢係我哋國泰集團80週年嘅慶典，我哋一直呢同香港並肩同行，未來呢亦會繼續推動香港繁榮嘅發展。國泰呢今年會舉辦一系列以同心飛躍80年為主題嘅特別慶祝活動，同全港嘅市民呢一齊慶祝呢個別具意義嘅里程碑。國泰嘅成就呢離唔開我哋全體團隊嘅付出、顧客嘅信任同埋股東嘅支持。喺度呢，我謹代表國泰集團向各位致上誠摯嘅謝意。感謝大家多年嚟同我哋共同書寫傳奇嘅篇章，我哋將會堅持努力向前，致力成為顧客最喜愛嘅服務品牌。多謝大家。
Thank you, Ronald, and thank you again to all our speakers. This concludes today's media briefing. If you have any further questions, please email them to press@cathaypacific.com. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good day.